So in Egypt this morning, that's where mediators are trying to implement President Trump's 20-point peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Trump is demanding that they, quote, move fast. Pro-Palestinian protesters are taking to the streets around the world, including Washington, D.C., London, cities in Italy and France. One social post by the anti-war group Code Pink shows protesters carrying banners and chanting, quote, U.S. Congress, you will see Palestine will be free. That group is demanding a total arms embargo and sanctions against Israel. Obviously, many other groups unequivocally support Israel's action to defend itself. Tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of Hamas's October 7th terrorist attack and massacre and the start of this war.
2 years.
So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about this with foreign correspondent Amy Kellogg here with the very latest. Amy, good morning to you. Seems a bit of tension between Netanyahu and President Trump.
The consensus, Dave, is that Netanyahu's arm was really twisted by Trump to accept this peace deal, that he had no choice. And Trump has made it clear that when he says that you need to accept something, you need to, and particularly in this case. So, but different sides are trying to play it in different ways. Netanyahu went on TV on Saturday night to say that, to portray this as a grand victory on his part, and Trump clearly is hoping that it will push him further towards his stated goal of winning a Nobel Peace Prize. So, although the different parties all have their bits of resistance to this plan, I think, look, as you mentioned, it's 2 years tomorrow since the October 7th attacks. 72% of Israelis, according to polls, want this deal to work out. Trump apparently has had it, apparently a turning point for him, or the final nail in the coffin was the attack on September 9th that Israel carried out in Qatar. So, and the Palestinians have lost 60 plus thousand people in this war. So everyone is kind of at the point where something needs to happen. Even Iran has been kind of quiet about all of this, implicitly backing this plan. So we're 4 hours into the preliminary talks in Egypt, and we're waiting for some whispers to emerge to hear how it's going. First, it's Qatar, Turkey, and Hamas sitting down and hammering out some of Hamas's pushback points, and then it will be indirect negotiations later today between Israel and Hamas, and of course with a very strong U.S. presence. Negotiator Steve Witkoff is there, and son-in-law Jared Kushner.
So, Amy, 48 hostages still in captivity. We don't know their fate. Believe that only 20 are still alive. What is the fate of that? How are they woven into this peace plan?
They are the key to all of this, and they are Hamas's only card. So reportedly, Hamas is worried if it gives all the hostages, dead and alive, over at the very beginning, they will have no cards to play if Israel doesn't keep to its side of the deal. But right now, the military activity continues in Gaza. Israel has been carrying out strikes, albeit not with the same intensity as they had been a week ago. But until that all goes quiet, it's impossible to move hostages and even hostage bodies, which reportedly are in some cases buried deep where some of the military activity has been going on in Gaza City. So this is the most important part of the plan, and they are to be released within 72 hours of Hamas signing on, down to the optics. Israel doesn't want to see masked men escorting these terrified hostages out of Gaza. So there's a lot of orchestration, choreography that needs to go on, and then a ceasefire really needs to take hold before those hostages can be moved.
You know, Amy, we haven't gotten to the finish line in any way at this point, but we're starting to see movement towards that. If you had to nail it down, what was the straw on the camel's back that got both parties to say, all right, let's sit down and try and figure this out? Was it the Trump administration?
Yes, I think even Trump's detractors are saying that his personal involvement in this is really what is making the difference, and it makes you wonder if Trump could put the same pressure on Vladimir Putin to end that conflict. Although Trump clearly has a lot of leverage over Prime Minister Netanyahu because, particularly for the military support that the United States gives to Israel. So I think that it was Trump being very involved, Trump being very disappointed with Israel striking a Hamas target inside of Qatar. There was Gulf Arab pressure on Trump to make this happen. They don't like how it's playing out in their part of the world. And then I think when it comes to Hamas, which has not fully accepted this, they've apparently agreed to give over the hostages and to not take part in the governing of Gaza and Palestinian territories, at least now, any longer. They have clearly not agreed to the other 18 points of the plan. So a lot is very tenuous at the moment, although there is, certainly a lot of hope and optimism that this will be it.
Well, Amy, thank you so much. From day one, this has been such a complex and nuanced story. So thank you for breaking that down in a way that I think just about everybody can understand at least where we're at and what needs to happen going forward. But a lot of variables in the air still.
Yeah, and it was, thanks again to Amy. It was interesting to the reporting over the weekend that Donald Trump said to Netanyahu, "Why are you always being so damn negative?"
Mm-hmm.
And so, and the headlines this morning suggest that Trump is bullying almost a little bit Netanyahu. And look, he may deserve that prize, that Nobel Peace Prize, if he can bring this to an end.
If he can bring this to an end.
I know his opponents hate that, but he may deserve it.
Look, if we can get good results, I don't think you should root against anyone if the results are good.